And we need that cerebral cortex, those basal nuclei, brainstem, cerebellum to carry this out. One way that we know this tissue works, we can have an electroencephalogram, an EEG. Anybody ever had to have one? Or known somebody? You did? Okay. Like how long ago?
Probably the last one I had was probably in
Okay, so do they still have like, oh my gosh, 500 of the little stickers? Or have they improved that? It's still a whole bunch of them.
it's still a whole bunch of them. I can't like particularly remember it because I was kind of like out of it, but I do remember they were placed and I was feeling it was like cold.
Okay, so you get all these little, looks like little suction cups to a wire, and they're stuck all over your head, come up, go to a machine, and then they turn the machine on. What they're doing is they're looking at the electricity in the tissue. Because if you think back to part 1, and you learned about action potentials, what is it? What's involved in an action potential occurring?
Change of like a charge as like electrolytes kind of transfer.
We have a charge across the membrane. If you remember, the outside of a membrane was more positive than the inside. And that is based on ions, and proteins help give a little bit of a negative charge on the inside. But it's based, do you guys remember? Sodium, okay, potassium, all right. Those charges, when there was an action potential, meaning that neuron was active, okay? If you remember, you had to start up here where you received a message, okay, to do something. If it made it across the body of the nerve cell, it got to that axon helix. Does everybody remember the axon helix? That was an area of huge ion exchange. And then we have those voltage-gated proteins, and we got to have that action potential travel down the axon, make it to the terminal ends, and then whatever it connected to, it got a response. Does everybody remember that? So having this charge across the membrane creates electricity. That is determined by that machine for an EEG. We have a norm value for parts of the brain. And that EEG will let them know. Is that electricity that's present, is it falling within a normal value? So, it will let us know because the machine does this, okay? So it collects information in the form of waves, all right? Those waves should be at certain portions of the brain. They should be a normal height, either present or not, okay? And they let us know if the brain activity is normal. If not, this EEG, it can help predict diseases, metabolic abnormalities, brain tumors, trauma, damage to certain portions of the brain, and the doctors can use that information to try to help treat the activity occurring in the brain. It's done, for the most part, while you are awake. Because if this part of the brain is dealing with voluntary, it's conscious. We're being aware. So, if they look at the results, if something doesn't fall within the norm, they can begin to diagnose what could possibly be wrong. The types of waves that exist: alpha, beta, theta, delta. These waves should be present when the person is doing certain activities. So, if they're doing that EEG, look at what they're saying about alpha. We're awake, but we're resting. Our eyes could be closed. We could just be picturing ourselves on the warm sands of a beach somewhere, okay? And if that's what they're telling you to do at that point in time of the test, those should be the waves that show up. If they give you a puzzle to solve, all right? These should be the waves that will show up. If in adults, theta should only be present during drowsy or sleepy times, but this is more common in children. So if we kind of sit there and kind of do that number, those are the waves that should show up. In deep sleep is when the delta waves should be present. But let's say that I'm taking that test. I've got that EEG stuff on my head, and they have given me a puzzle to solve, but delta shows up, or alpha, okay? They know that something's wrong. They would use this information to try to determine what, and begin to do other types of testing. One of the times for the body as a whole, not just the brain. Do you guys remember talking about sleep? How many of y'all got 8 hours a night since we talked about it last week? Nobody? No. Oh, man. Did you get 9? 10? Oh, man. Okay, I gotta get y'all into your 8 hours a night. Sleep, yeah, it's a temporary state of unconsciousness. It's extremely important to all parts of the body, not just the brain as a whole. You've heard of circadian rhythms, right? What is it?
It's like when the sun is up versus when the sun is down.
And
your cycle, your 24-hour cycle.
Our biological cycle, okay? The rhythm that we're going to have. from morning till night, morning till night. The circadian rhythm we're currently on, 24-hour day, was forced upon us by Caesar. Because if you were to go live out in a remote area where there's no type of electricity, so therefore you can't have connection to anything but nature, most likely your body would set to a 25-hour day. That's an extra hour of sleep, y'all. Okay? I kind of like that idea. But our 24-hour circadian rhythm was forced on us. When we look at sleep, it's usually stereotyped, meaning not a lot different from person to person. The posture, the muscular activity, it's pretty much going to be the same across the board. But here's the thing, and this is why it becomes important to make sure you get at least those 8 hours. Because if you can get those 8 hours, keep the brain healthy, keep the body healthy, because at sleep is when your body's doing maintenance. Okay? Anything that could be wrong within the body's working to repair it. Okay? The stages that occur, 1, 2, 3, 4. In the first stage, drowsy, close your eyes, you're relaxing, you can be awakened very easily. All right? This is the point that my pug likes to jump up on me in the bed, okay, so that I have to wake up. But anyway, the second stage, you're in light sleep. You can still wake up. It's just a little bit harder to wake you up. In stage 3, this is about 20 minutes after stage 1, but notice what happens. Your muscles get to relax, your vital signs get to fall. Your body can go into times of repair now. Stage 4, it's very hard to wake you up. Vital signs are at their lowest levels, very relaxed, and you need to have these cycles occur quite a few times throughout the night. When we don't get enough sleep, or when our sleep is very disrupted, like, times of stress, we might lay there thinking about, oh, well, tomorrow this bill is due, or I've got to do this tomorrow, I don't really want to do it, that sort of thing. Anything that can disrupt the sleep, it's going to disrupt these cycles, which in turn disrupts all the other good things that can happen to the body during maintenance. So, one of the things that happens, you've all heard of REM, right? Rapid eye movement. This is when dreams occur, very difficult to wake us up. Some people might even experience like the sleep paralysis. Not sure if any of you have ever heard of that. And it's important, though, to have that time. You may or may not remember your dreams. That's fine, okay? But it is important to allow these cycles to occur. Anything that will disrupt that can actually disrupt other areas of the brain during the day. Does that make sense? To help that brain function while we're awake, we need to let it do this at least once a day. That's 8 hours. I think they're saying 7 is okay, but not great, okay? Anything less than that, just not good for the body, the brain as a whole.
Why is it that like some people can't like control their dreams?
How so?
Like people like say like they can control what happens in their dreams. I don't know if it's true. Like lucid dreams? I don't know.
I sometimes if you are thinking about something before you go to sleep, you can tend to dream about that.